It's crazy how a lot of shows I grew up with are all turning 20 near the same time. Courage the Cowardly Dog, Futurama, Family Guy, and SpongeBob SquarePants. These are all shows that came out sometime in the year of 1999. And whereas, yes, you would be technically correct to consider these 90s shows, I have to disagree. Just because something was born in 99 doesn't make it a part of the 90s. Truth be told, I was born in 97, and even I don't consider myself a 90s kid, considering I was only 2 throughout 2000. Either way, 90s or 2000 shows, these are all very nostalgic and just iconic shows at this point. I've already taken a look at Family Guy, and at some point, both Futurama and Courage will be getting their own videos. As for today, though, we are taking a trip to Bikini Bottom for the first time on this channel and taking a look at SpongeBob. Now, instead of looking at the pilot, as I did with my Family Guy review, I actually had a poll on which classic episode of SpongeBob I should take a look at, and Season 3's Chocolate with Nuts was the winner, of which I am perfectly fine with, as Chocolate with Nuts is my favorite episode of the entire series. The story of the episode isn't exactly the most in-depth, but this show was never about the story. Before I go into the episode, I feel as though I should explain why SpongeBob turning 20 is something that should be celebrated. It shouldn't be celebrated because it's still on the air. Won't catch me celebrating Family Guy still being on the air. Plus, there was a long drag between the two movies. I mean, Truth or Square came out for the 10-year anniversary, and the show could have stayed on that quality and would still be going. Nickelodeon and Viacom know this, trust me. If SpongeBob ended, then the 20th anniversary should still be celebrated because of the memories with the show. And I have fond memories of SpongeBob. Whenever I was a kid, Nickelodeon was one of my go-to stations with shows like My Life as a Teenage Robot and Jimmy Neutron. It was a great place to be. But my favorite of the bunch had to be SpongeBob SquarePants. It was just a smart and fun show with a colorful cast of characters and locations. My earliest memory of the show was of the episode Walking Small. I remember mimicking SpongeBob's song while actually on the beach when I was 5 or 6. I'm also pretty sure the SpongeBob SquarePants movie was the third movie I saw in theaters after Shrek 2 and Spider-Man 2. SpongeBob was one of the only shows I liked that had really good video games like Battle for Bikini Bottom and the movie game, which still hold up very well as classics. And yes, I am very excited for the remake. Speaking of classic though, SpongeBob has become a household name over the years, and for good reason. And why don't we take a small look into why SpongeBob deserves this as I give a fair review of Chocolate with Nuts. The episode starts with a well-timed joke, and whenever you are laughing within the first 20 seconds of the episode, that is how you know it will be a good episode. Speaking of jokes though, this episode is full of them, and anytime I go back to this episode, I cannot watch it without cracking up. A few years ago, I marathoned the first 3 seasons of SpongeBob, and this was the only episode I actually had to pause and rewind because I was laughing so much. Anyhow, SpongeBob is searching through Gary's mail. Wait, why does Gary have so much mail? SpongeBob stumbles across the December issue of Fancy Living Digest and states that he doesn't remember subscribing to that magazine, but it turns out to be Squidward. SpongeBob asks Squidward how the people in the magazine became so wealthy. Squidward explains they are entrepreneurs and that they sell things. SpongeBob and Patrick decide they want to be entrepreneurs as well, so they come up with the idea to sell chocolate.
Chocolate? Did you say chocolate?
They arrive at their first house, and if you've never even seen an episode of SpongeBob, I'm sure you recognize this fish.
Chocolate! Chocolate!
The second house hosts the con artist that reoccurs in this episode. He sells them chocolate carrying bags, even though the bars are in wrappers. In season 3, SpongeBob wasn't really stupid, just gullible, and of course he falls for this. SpongeBob and Patrick even fall for this confish again at the third house, as he wants to sell them chocolate carrying bags, which is hilarious. Modern SpongeBob wouldn't be able to keep a joke like that. At this point, SpongeBob and Patrick have spent money on buying the chocolate bars to begin with, are the individual chocolate bar carrying bags, and then the bags that hold those. Safe to say their business isn't really going as planned as they are in debt. But our heroes must venture forth, and as it turns out, at the fourth house, buying the bags were actually a bad idea, as it becomes unorganized. SpongeBob then gets the idea to be nice, and at the fifth house, this happens.
I love you.
Okay. Oh my god, I love this episode. This guy doesn't eat sugar anymore, and he shows them a picture of how he was fat when he was 13. And then Patrick buys 10 of that same picture. On the way to the sixth house, SpongeBob declares that they need to keep focused, and then Patrick creeps out a guy. SpongeBob is so confused of what they are doing wrong because they haven't sold a single chocolate bar, but have been to 6 different houses. They see a billboard advertisement for barnacle chips, which is just a big lie. So they decide to do that. Start lying about their product. And they even sell chocolate to an old lady that hates it because they tell her that it will make her immortal. Then we get a montage of them selling chocolate to a bunch of different people with outrageous claims. The next stop, they try to fake injuries to get the owner to buy all their chocolate through guilt. But the owner comes out covered in cast and falls down the stairs. So they help him inside and ask if there's anything they can do to help. As it turns out, he makes money to pay his medical bills by selling chocolate and asks them to do it for him. So they buy the chocolate off of him, and they are stuck with 2 big crates full of chocolate with no buyers. And here's the kicker: the fish in the cast turns out to be the confish from earlier in disguise. As much as I hate cons, I got to admit this guy knows his market, which is how he can afford 3 different houses. Luckily for SpongeBob and Patrick, the crazy fish from before comes by and buys all their chocolate. The episode ends as they use their money to rent a fancy restaurant, going on a double date with the 2 old ladies from before. Is this the best thing I've reviewed thus far? Nothing so far even comes close to as many times as I was laughing here. As far as the story goes, no, I said before, it's very simple, and that's what SpongeBob excels in. But yes, I do definitely recommend it. I am giving it my Ryan Echo promise that you will laugh at least at one joke while watching it. Oh, and I did see Big Birthday Blowout, and I thought it was okay. Nothing but far better than Truth or Square. Let me know what you thought of it though. As for what I'm reviewing next, I'm actually not sure. I have a few scripts of which I never finish, but it'll most likely be something from scratch. I am always looking for suggestions or requests though. Until next time though, thank you for watching and I hope you have a good rest of your day.